When they fall, there is only one to call. The confusion with the gods and goddesses simplified. The Universal Mother gave birth to many things, including the gods and goddesses. However, many of them demand that they be worshipped by the humans as their creators, and in most cases through monotheism. This can be looked at as your own physical mother or father, asking you to worship them as your only creator, since they came together and did the deed that brought you here. The adept is then to ask, what of the sperm? What of the egg? What of the water? And what of all the sustenance that makes up the parent? Where did that come from? Because it is that which is the true creator, not the stages in between. Further, worshiping crucified saviors is like worshiping your own brother. It is true that our parents deserve care, respect, and reverence from us, and this is common sense. But blind submission to the will of any parent or authority is not required by the Universal Mother. Think of how many fathers have ruined their sons' lives by wanting them to live up to their football dream, or how many mothers have done the same to the daughter by forcing her to attempt to become a singer, or the million other scenarios like this that show clear abuse. Ab equals father, use. Getting used by father. It was clear to me that the gods had gone mad. They actually expected people to sit around behind their stations and build their world for them on top of ours. So I started to spoil their plans from the inside out. James. We have released a vast amount of information within this last week, and I see it imperative to clarify and simplify the message. Regardless, the entire living world will come to know the awesome power of the Universal Mother vividly, and thus come to develop a personal relationship with the Sustainer by clear proofs. The reality still is that if we have ever eaten, drank, and drawn breath, then our relationship has already began. It is the fact that the energy current that most are looking for can be found right here on this planet. Do we not witness the awesome power of the ocean? How much of such power do we truly think we need coursing through our being to power up all of our facilities? The answer is not much. With knowing this, it becomes of utmost importance that I make you aware of how we became separate and who is the perpetrator behind such things. Our power has always been available. I can show you infinite reasons why. This is the completion of my mission, which will only be complete when all know. Ideas that give one immortality contain immortal purpose. New creations are made all the time and seek instruction. James. I can only tell you this story from my own life, and if I do not, I do run the risk of you not feeling all of what you need to feel to know true gnosis, because the entire universe is on a cyclic spiral orbit. Our first fractal is that we are born from our mother. This transcends from the highest levels to the lowest, as above, so below. Anytime someone is telling you anything different, then they are dividers, splitting you from the truth. This is exactly where the incision began. Notice the Bible begins with this incision dividing man from woman. It becomes important now to understand the relationship of the Universal Mother versus the woman or goddess. She actually birthed both of them, like she birthed man and gods, and a host of other beings you see in nature. So when people begin to confuse the Universal Mother with the woman or man, there ensues a great deal of confusion and misdirected anger. It is a fact that many brotherhoods and sisterhoods fuel their candidates with this diluted confusion that what gives them life is still limited to being a goddess or god, and thus when they identify the god or goddess to them for their true actions, the candidate develops a hatred for the planets. This affects mainly the one they are standing on, which is the only thing that is truly real and organic, while everything else the person is imagining is still ethereal, just a fantasy or phantom waiting to be granted life. Now it is a fact that many of these blind candidates, following their blind divided gods and goddesses such as Saklis, Samael, blind, and Layla, night blind, who are attempting to take over the world by continuously erecting their structures and technologies on top of our mother. Let us keep in mind, they are building their inorganic dead world on top of the world of the living. thus smothering life. So humanity faces its greatest challenge as it has an intruder that it must confront, or be judged as being already dead when not doing anything to uphold life, despite it upheld you when you needed it. Now that must be balanced. The force that stopped the sun. When looking at the media today, it is clear to see the archons are at the height of their reign, tugging on poor humanity's heart with continuous portents of doom. Their height is our lowest state. The economy is falling. A satellite is falling. It's all falling. Someone tell Chicken George that it is he that is failing and falling, thus confusing his state for that of the universe, which powers forth, causing awe, as such existence baffles man and woman when they cannot fit it into a mind that accepts death as a realistic component for itself. We do not die, we simply transmute. The megastructure is merely showing that it is collapsing under the weight and diversity of organic life, and now must turn it back over to its real nourisher, which has always remained present, watching the inevitable. The return of the children. The child is fearless. Come forth, child, and witness magnificence, as it is your story. There is a symbolic gesture that occurs in the beginning of your life that holds great symbolism and significance. This is the cutting of your umbilical cord. You should also keep in mind, just as the astral eye shows, that if you happen to lose a physical limb or part, your ethereal one remains in place, so in effect, you only lose use of it on this plane and not the other. Since the placenta is a planet, when you're ejected, it is now clear that a new lesson is beginning. This lesson has been planned a great deal ahead of us fully realizing our true identity. It's funny because this lesson is called Learn Your True Identity. I find the universe very interesting when it uses this technique, which is to plunge us into an external version of ourselves, shattered until we are able to see it all as a mirror.